yeah, Gary, you can take it away. We've done this multiple times, so all you.
Sounds good. Thanks for having us again. Yeah, so I'm excited to tell you guys about this. It's basically, like Evan said, it's a mental wellness tool. It's not a therapy. It's not a solution that's going to cure anything, but it's a way to help you manage your stress, anxiety, if you're struggling with PTSD, whatever that is. So with that said, let me share my screen here and share exactly what that is. It's a VR tool, basically. It's an app that you can access on VR goggles that allows you to see experiences to help you calm down. On top of that, you have real-time feedback to see if it's actually working, if it's helping you de-stress, and that's through either heart rate, through an Apple Watch, or through an EEG headband, which reads your brainwave activity. So depending on what you want to do, just want to make sure, can you guys see my screen? I can never get this right, so I'm just gonna assume yes. Can't see it yet. Okay, let's see. Sorry about that. While I'm trying to fix this, maybe. So, oh, perfect. Okay, okay. So, yeah, the company first started. Our founder, she was a reporter a lot of years ago, but basically she was reporting a lot of homicides, really, really bad stories. So she was struggling a lot with sleeping, and she was struggling with panic attacks. So she started doing this biofeedback on her brain to see how she's reacting to things and help her understand what helps her calm down. So she started Healium. So Healium allows you to see that and allows you to see that stuff. On top of that, Sarah also started Honor Everywhere, which is a social purpose program that is free for everybody. It basically gives out tours to veterans or to anybody that want to see the memorials in Washington. So it's free for anybody. You can access it on your phone, laptop, VR goggles, whatever it is.
Hey, Karen, I was going to say you have the Discord up as well. I don't know if you wanted to cover that up with the slide.
Great. Okay. Thanks for telling me that. Okay. Is that better?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. So this is Sarah. Next, I told you about the veterans. I'm not going to show this video, but super cool. You guys should check it out. It's called Honor Everywhere Social Purpose Program. So if you can, definitely check it out. And so this video, I'm going to talk through it, but this video basically explains how Healium works. So this is Lydia. She's going to sit down and put on her VR goggles on her head, and she has connected her Apple Watch to them. So she's getting fully immersed in the experience, no distractions, just paying attention to the beautiful different experiences. The little green bubbles that you see, that's the real-time feedback. So when they're glowing green, that means that she's very close to her baseline. She is calm. If they turn white or yellow, that means that she's pretty agitated and off her baseline. So pretty simple. Experiences go anywhere from 5 minutes to 17 minutes. So it just depends what you like to do. Whenever you open up the goggles or the app on your phone, there's 4 categories that you can see: focus, positivity, sleepium, and mindfulness. Sleepium are experiences that you can watch before you go to sleep, help you calm down. There's over 40 experiences, and we update the content all the time. With that said, you get access to a dashboard with the Healium score. So you get a score every time you use the Healium app with the feedback, and kind of helps you, score yourself and see where you at when you use it, what you've done to help you de-stress. So help train your brain de-stress. That's the goal. It's clinically validated, so we have 8 peer-reviewed journals, 1 pending. And this is the brain of a firefighter on the left side. You see all the red stuff, that's the stress. And then only after only 4 minutes of helium, that's the picture on the right side. So it doesn't take that long. And like I said, it's clinically validated. And then, yeah, it's fully immersive, it's evidence-based, and you have the biometric control to do, to check yourself and kind of to train your brain and see how different thoughts help you de-stress. So I've done Discord a couple times now, but and I'll stop sharing. But we would love to help any veterans. People have contacted us before, and we're in the works actually working with them, talking to them, either helping them connect to their VA and maybe access VR, or we're just providing helium to them. So open to any questions.
Hey, Carrie, could you talk on the what is it, the honor flight?
Yeah, the honor flight. Yeah. So, like I mentioned earlier, just briefly, but the honor flight, that's what you're asking?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So the honor flight is a free program that it's an app, or not an app. You can access it online. If you type in the honor flight, or not the honor flight, the oh my goodness, I am losing my mind. It's basically, it helps you get a tour of the Washington Memorials. It's a free program, and I am forgetting the name of it. It's not the honor flight. The idea is the honor flight. But yes, it's a virtual tour of the memorials, so anybody can access it. It's free. You can tell friends and family, anybody that is not able to get on the honor flight to go see all the memorials, feel free to access that. And there's veterans that are no longer with us that kind of talked. There's interviews with them, which is pretty cool in that Honor Everywhere program. So if you're needing help accessing it, also email me. I'm going to drop my email in the comments. If that helps.
So real quick, there's a request, but it's also kind of maybe something you could touch on a little bit. And as well, they're asking you if you could post peer-reviewed research studies for this, or or can you touch on them a little bit and post them?
Yes, of course. And give me 1 second to access it. So, and also I saw there's another question. Okay, so I'll drop in the peer-reviewed journals and the studies, but we have some that validate how it helps improve focus. It helps with insomnia, kind of wind you down before you sleep. And then there is pediatric migraines, and so forth. There's a couple more. So let me share that link with you guys in there. And then the other question that I saw is, do you have any examples of the videos or visuals? Yes, we do. And I will drop that in the comments as well. But the video that I showed of Lydia that tried the headset, there's different experiences. They're either nature-based, so it kind of takes you through like a scenery, super slow, calming, or it's kind of more techie or out of this world, or you can go in like space and look at something. They're different experiences. Over 40, and we do put out new content every 60 days. So I'm sharing the science page with you guys. Are there any other questions? The studies.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. There's one that was asking about the example videos or visuals of how the VR experiences.
Yeah, and I guess I can share my screen again, but I'm dropping a link right here in the comments again so people can access more if they want to. There you go. I just dropped that in.
What I was going to say is I was at a VA immersive that I was invited to by Evan Davis himself. And I got to experience actually Helium. So that video, if you guys were in here, if you take the individual out of the middle of it, that is what the video is. You're kind of going through like a scenic view of like, whatever you want, but it's like it's got calming audio, and the bubbles are going to kind of like they try to take your breathing to a certain pace, and you get to see because and you can touch on the Neuralink thing. That kind of like ties in to kind of let you know how your brain is reacting. And if I'm wrong on that, please correct me because I'm very bad at explaining technology, it seems. But yeah, I said, hey, if this was an experience I could do in my own household without people around, I could get fully immersed into it. But being secluded from my visuals, it was kind of hard for me to get immersed into it in a public spot. So
yeah. No, yeah, definitely. What he's talking about, like I said, I just dropped in the video so you guys are able to access them and see them if you scroll down. But whenever you're watching the video, there's a little toggle that you can toggle on and off, but there's a little breathing bubbles that are coming in and out that can help you kind of slow down your breathing if you want to. You don't have to walk anywhere. You just sit down and relax and you just watch it. Like he said, it's fully immersive. You can look around in VR and experience the whole thing. No distractions. What else?
Can I jump in too?
Yes.
Kind of explain a little bit of difference for folks in the sense of AR VR versus just watching through a screen. And one of the things that especially Donnie was touching on there was that when you're experiencing this through a virtual reality device, it is 360 degrees around you. Fully immersive is what Gary said, meaning that you don't see anything outside of what's generated in that virtual reality headset. And we see about 17% more of the brain actively engaged in those environments because of that. Because you're also getting the visual, but you're getting the auditory. And for those individuals that are immersed in that, we get into what's called flow. A lot of people refer to flow as meditation or other types of things. And what's really hard when we talk about meditation is, what does meditation mean to you? But what's really amazing about this technology and things like Helium do very well is they get you into the flow state much quicker than what we're used to in creating imaginary exposures and creating imaginary environments. Now we just have to look around and participate in what Helium is designed to create for you. And so there's this ability to sit back and participate, whereas in a lot of situations, you have to create and, imagine those exposures or those things that you're trying to do. And so I think there's a really big distinction in that experience that what Carrie is talking about and what Donnie just explained as well. So I just wanted to add that little tidbit on the power of that VR device specifically.
Yeah, no, that was great. And yeah, it's a supplement, it doesn't cure anything. I want to preface this again. It's a supplement to what you're already doing. Best thing they can do for yourself is get therapy, go to and see somebody. But it's something that you can do at home, kind of help you quiet your mind quickly. And then, yes, you can get that feedback with an Apple Watch or an EEG headband. Those are the two options right now, but we're implementing other stuff hopefully soon, other wearables.
We got a couple more people typing real quick. We'll see what they say.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then the question is, oh, you see it? Okay, you saw it.
Yeah, I saw it. Where it's available, so it depends what VA you were at. Some VAs have it, and I think maybe Evan can talk about that, but it's available in the App Store. I don't know if you have goggles or not. If you do, you can just download it on your goggles. If you don't, I can walk you through it. I can help you out in getting it. Just email me. And maybe, Evan, if you want to address the next question.
Yep. So I was typing a little bit. I'll touch on the first one. And so, yes, you can ask your primary care provider about virtual reality, but understanding again, this is VA. We have to call a spade here. Everybody might not know what you're talking about. We do have virtual reality in every single state. We have it in territories. We have it in American Samoa, Guam, and Puerto Rico. In some capacity, but that doesn't mean that it's being used for specifically this use case. So the best thing that can happen is you actually ask them about that. And I will put into the chat the VA Immersive webpage so that you can actually then say, if your provider says, I don't know what you're talking about, you can actually give them the website and then they can connect with us internally. It's a really helpful tool. They can ask the questions. We can share what we're doing, what's happening across VA. With the other question is, it's hard to say the other use cases because there's over 40 different use cases at this point. And the more providers we get these into the hands of, the more use cases we start to see. So the most recent ones that we're really starting to see are visually impaired rehab teams. I was at the Creative Arts Festival not too long ago and put a veteran through virtual reality who told me this was the first time in 25 years they saw like they used to. And so it's stuff like that providers get introduced to. Oh, wait, that may not have been my initial intent, but now I really need to explore what just happened with that. And so we see all different use cases: pain management, stress, anxiety, depression, anxiety, PTSD treatment. We see sleep, just like Healium's presenting about. We see phantom limb pain. We see patient education. We see pre and post procedural recoveries with all of this stuff. And so the sky's the limit with this technology, which is what's really exciting. But to give you that concept of there's a lot and it's growing. And what I would probably say in a bold statement is this will be almost as common as your computers at some point in your life. These will be devices that interact with your mobile devices, your watches, your all of these things, and designed for that health reason. And we may not see it right now as designed for health, but we see in the VA, we see as Healium, we see as the industry, is the health design is really becoming really important. And you said, and is this meant to be used in combination with traditional therapies? Yes. Okay. That is a great connection. If you are going to a provider for PTSD treatment, they may leverage this technology to help you with those concepts. And maybe you struggle with social environments, right? And so as a provider, I don't want to send you to the farmer's market on the weekend when I'm not present and I'm not able to help you work through those things. But now with this technology, we can do this in the safe confines of my office. And I can say, hey, we're going to look at 5 minutes today. Can we participate in 5 minutes of being in a social environment that's maybe a little bit more interactive than you want it to be? And I'm going to sit here and work with you to build those skills together. And at any point, you are in control and can stop the experience. We've never had this ability before. Before it's been, hey, go to the farmer's market and report back to me on the skills that we had talked about. And then we can prolong and imagine those things, just as I mentioned before. No, now we can actually create those experiences for you to help you work through those things that you might want to. And that's just a specific use case that I'm giving, but hopefully gives you an idea of that complementary approach. I now have a more ability with this technology than I ever have as a provider. So hopefully that answers your question. And the nice part is you can reach out to me individually, and I'm happy to have further conversations with you, especially regarding internal to VA. And if you're looking to access this as something to be used into your care, or even if it's something to be used at home. And so is Carrie. Carrie has been very generous with her contact information as well. So I will put into the chat my contact information. And while I do that, I'll get you the VA Immersive webpage as well.
Yeah, right on. That was great.
said earlier, I mean, I know Carrie's been also very generous with her time. We are. Can you talk about maybe how some of the challenges, if any, that have come up with using the technology? Okay.
I mean, I can say from my perspective, and then Evan, maybe you can go too. But some challenges from using the technology, if I'm understanding this correctly, I mean, some people just don't know what VR is. And here's the thing: I think we're happy to teach you how to use it. Like Evan said, there's so many opportunities in the future that we'll be able to use VR in healthcare and just kind of help you through, life eventually. But yeah, VR, I think you have great resources here through, this organization and us and Evan, but everybody's just happy to help you, walk you through this in any way. So.
Yeah, and I'll just add, and I love the addition there with talking about older veterans. So contrary to belief, older veterans are actually quicker to adopt this technology for a couple of reasons. One, because this is nuanced technology; they're not used to this technology, and so with that not being used to the technology, you're more able to accept lower fidelity graphics. You're able to accept lower quality experiences. And I don't mean that in a negative sense. I just mean that in a development sense. And so I don't have to spend as much time making this really beautiful environment, whereas I just have to make it an interactive and specifically designed experience. But what's really been amazing about the virtual reality technology is that it's very organic technology. It's very organically learned. And whoever has designed most of these tutorials knows exactly what they're doing. They have studied what they're doing in human design and education, because it's a very interactive experience that allows you to connect and learn organically. But as I said before, we're engaging about 17% more of the brain actively, which creates more places for us to store information and accept knowledge. And so this is a really cool phenomenon that happens with this technology is, again, you're more focused, you're more likely to retain the information. It's interactive and it's fun. And if you're an older individual, it's nuanced. And so you're more likely to pay attention to the little things. And so we don't see it being rejected or a struggle with older individuals. We actually see the opposite. We see younger individuals struggling to accept some of this technology because they're used to those higher fidelity graphics and interactive experiences. And so some of those barriers are exactly that, right? If we're used to those higher fidelity graphics, we're probably going to be more skeptical of those experiences. And then what you're also seeing with innovative technology, you have early adopters, you have the middle adopters, and you have late adopters. We are past the early adopter phase. And in the middle adopter phase, what we see is we need more evidence. We need more concrete structure, meaning like, how do I use this in my therapy? How do I orient people? So do I have a guide or all of these things? And you see, we'll call this one as well, right? Like AI is a thing, right? And so people will be skeptical of what AI is and all of that stuff. And then we're going to get into the late adopter phase soon, which will require a lot of research, a lot of data, peer-reviewed articles, all of these trials that have come about that will be required for those individuals that are waiting for that kind of thing. And so we're in this stage of innovation where we see this barrier being actually more so people's lack of knowledge of this technology versus willingness to participate. And hopefully that isn't like this like really elaborate kind of answer to that, but hopefully it gives you a view of those are some of the barriers. And then some of the other barriers is we're in the medical field. Okay. Quite frankly, there's a medical model and there's a holistic model. And so some of what we face is the barrier of a medically kind of approached model, prescriptive model, and fixing something. Folks like Healium, folks like innovators, they don't approach things as a medical model. They approach things as a holistic model. What do you want? What is it that you need? What are all those factors that play into your health, not just the physical function of that disease or that condition? And so there's some of that is really difficult to navigate in a medical field.
I saw the next question is basically about security and personal information.
Go ahead.
Yep. So specifically for Healium, I'm not a developer and I'm not the technologist, but we are, so I can't tell you exactly how we do it, but we are GDPR and NIST aligned and GDPR ready and HIPAA ready platforms. So all data is protected. It is not shared. It is protected behind our backend. We work with a lot of international companies, and we have to be very compliant too. Data security is huge for us, mostly because with Healium you're using biofeedback, neurofeedback. So nobody else can see your data but you. So data is very, very secure. What is the most common amount of time that Healium is being used for traditional users? We see a lot of users use it a couple times a week, maybe 3 to 4 times a week. When they turn it on, they do a couple of sessions. Like I mentioned, I don't know if you remember, but I mentioned earlier, our sessions can be anywhere from 5 minutes to, I think our longest one maybe 17 or 20 something minutes. But you can pick different experiences and watch them, and that's what we see people do. You can do one experience, 5 minute long, but one of our studies showed that it only takes 4 minutes to kind of downshift. So you can spend as much time as you want. But just like working out, just because you work out one time doesn't mean that you'll stay fit forever. That's something that, you continuously do it. And yeah, Evan, that's a great point. 10 to 30 minutes max. I think that's great.
Yeah, and I think that's a really insightful response, Michael, is yes. When you approach healthcare, it is an individual approach. We're all individuals. We're all people. I cannot approach care with you the same that I will with B.A. Donnie. I have to take a lot of considerations into play, whether that be motion sickness, prior conditions, whether that be mental health disorders or conditions, or maybe you have a TBI, and so maybe there's some light sensitivity. All of these things factor into that approach, and this is where we say this is a tool. It still requires that therapist to make that clinical judgment of, hey, you should be able to participate in this, but let's trial it and make an assessment. And so if at 5 minutes you start to feel some uncomfortability, that's our threshold. We now know that 5 minutes is the max that you can participate. And we want to be able to then walk back a little bit from that and desensitize you to that approach. And so there's a lot of this that goes into the provider side, but it's a very insightful answer into that. It is very much an individualist approach, but yes, consistency is really important into the development into healthy habits. I do have to say I love this conversation because both of you commenting are very insightful and very inquisitive, and it's wonderful. Yep, great question. Yep, I got this one. Yep, I was reading. So folks, I'm a Marine, so I read really slow. If it's not written in crayon, I struggle. But yes, so it is still rolling out. Yeah, they're Marine. It is still rolling out, and we are still getting in. We're still piloting a lot of these kind of use cases and making sure that they're designed specifically for veterans because we have that responsibility. But you're getting some of that is consumer. And so, like recreational therapy, most recreational therapists should have access to this. But that's not to say they do. And so we do have virtual reality in every single state. Like I said, we have it in American Samoa, Guam, and Puerto Rico in some capacity. As much as I hate saying this, it's the truth. It does require you to ask a lot of those questions. Are we using virtual reality? And the nice part of that answer is you can ask me. You can tell me, what is your state? Where are you? What is your local VA? And then I get to look up and say, hey, this is what I'm tracking your facility using, and this is what they're using it for. So this is where you can go and you can say, hey, I see that your PT is using it here in PMRS. I would love to get involved and trial this virtual reality stuff. So then I have that responsibility to answer you and hopefully support you there. So it's everywhere in some capacity. We are in over 165 facilities. There are only 172 total. That doesn't include C-Box, because then we're talking close to 1,000, if not more. But it is still rolling out.
If I get one more question type in there, I was going to give him a minute and see if we can get him. Hesh Knight, did you still have anything? I saw you type it up. There it goes. I mean, I'm sure Evan's open to engaging with you guys for sure. And
yeah, let me knowledge bomb here. We were actually at last year's VFW National Convention, so we had a whole booth and we were demoing the whole convention. And so we show up to those. We know those are extremely important because those are where you all are, and we have it planned to be at the national conventions this year as well. I don't know if we're at the VFW this year, but I did speak to your leadership at our summit. So I think there is something in the works to be at the VFW.
and again, thank you guys. We appreciate the engagement for sure. There was a lot of good conversation going on. Super Dave's got something. I'm not trying to hold Carrie here past too much. I know she's given us her time a lot. But we'll do this. We'll give it a couple more minutes, see if anybody's got a couple questions left. If not, we'll get Carrie on her way. Myself and Evan were up in DC for this weekend for a mental health gaming summit. If you guys want to tune in, actually, it'll be at noon. It'll be on the YouTube, VA YouTube and the VA Facebook. Starts at noon tomorrow. Goes until about 4 or 5, and then there's a second day with like a gaming tournament kind of esport thing going on. So please, if you guys got any questions, feel free to reach out to either Carrie, she gave your email, or Evan as well. But again, and also if you guys have more VR questions or have any other technologies that you'd like to see if we can bring on here, let us know. There are others as well. And then we plan on bringing VA education. I don't think it's next week. I think it's the week. It might be the 18th. I think it is the 18th actually. So I think the 18th is education. So touch on everything except for VR and E. We do plan on getting VR and E out here as well. I just got to get that point of contact nailed down. And I'm also working on whole health as well. So whole health I'll know by either Friday or Monday what days are coming on here. And then we'll work on VR and E. And if you guys have any other VR technologies you guys want to know about, we brought others on here before, so feel free to reach out to myself and Evan, and we can work on that.
Thank you guys for having me. Always a pleasure. And if you need anything, just email me. Happy to help. So, thanks.
But you know, I'm always responsive on here, and so is Evan. If you guys have anything you want to run by us at any time, I'm pretty responsive on here. If I always have my phone on me at all times. If I'm not responsive, it's probably because I'm asleep. So feel free to reach out at any point. If you have any requests for this channel, you know, obviously go through Lynn, and he can reach out to us. Other than that, thank you guys.
Yep, appreciate you all. As he said, feel free to reach out. And as I posted in there, just make sure to at me. I do a lot of travel, so the extra dot helps me. So hopefully y'all have a wonderful rest of your week, and really appreciate you hanging out with us and asking such insightful questions. Appreciate you all.
Yeah, and Evan told me he was going to bring his silkies, but he didn't. So you guys have a good one. Thank you.